Okay, gamers, here we go. I'm here to talk about draft because if I don't, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. Follow my Twitter though. Yay, funny memes. So, the original reason that I'm doing this is because drafting right now is kind of ass in my opinion. I think that a lot of teams throw draft really fucking hard. I think that they just they fucking int in draft and it makes me mad. Um, that doesn't help the fact that red side right now is dog shit to draft, in my opinion. You can kind of pause, read the tweets if you want to, but I said I want to make a video on this because it'll be easier to explain if I try to talk about it as a scenario. Let me see if I can find the picture. So, yeah. So this game between I believe it's NGX and somebody else. I have the game pulled up somewhere, I don't know. But they end up picking Zed Blue 5 when the red team here, I believe it's NGX, hasn't even committed to the Baron laner. And it's just like, what are you doing? So starting, right? Red has to ban one of four picks. Um, these four assholes, as I like to call them. You can see here we got our blue, ban ones. I'll just make this blue. This will be red. This will be blue. Sorry, this is again not very well put together. This will be red. This will be good enough for now. Actually won't. I'm gonna make all the ban. We're gonna talk about bans first because ban is what's important. So when you're banning, the most important things are the second bans because you want to use the first ban to start off the like. It's like when you're writing an argumentative essay. Like you do want to have a strong start, but like you don't need to have a strong start. You want to make sure that your middle keeps whoever's here, and you want to make sure that it's important and it solidifies how you're going to be doing your strategy, especially red two. I think that besides blue one, which is obviously important because it's first pick, and red five, which is obviously important because it's counter pick, I think the most important part of draft is red two. Because and I mean this for both red twos because the second ban is important because right, if you're red, you basically have to ban three of these four. Usually it goes something like this, where red will ban something along these lines. So blue will usually hit Camille, Jace, and then we'll say, for example, the enemy team has a cracked. Where's Corky? Corky. So they want to get rid of Corky, right? And so then you'll have a draft that ends up looking something like this for the first five picks. I really should put this together better. Whatever. Okay. So this is what it looks like for the first five picks, right? We're just going to fix all this now, actually. Red, blue. Oh, God. I forgot the red goes into B4. I always mix that up for some fucking reason. But anyways, this is red 5, blue B5, red P4, red P4, blue 4, blue 5, and then red. Small disclaimer, I am not pretending that I am smarter than the entire Wild Rift community of coaches. I just think some coaches just don't focus enough on draft, and so they end up inting it and throwing it. Right, so this is what the drafts in an SEA look like a lot of the times, where you'll have Camille banned. She's just too useful right now. Being able to run Demolish is just way too fucking good on her as well. She can be flex jungle, which makes it a bit confusing if you're gonna trace her. Actually, where the fuck is Cassidy? Didn't grab him. Whatever. I don't know what the fuck is. I don't know if that's him. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck the icon is for Cassidy, so rip me. where the fuck is he? This fucker will be Cassidon. I don't know if this is actually Cassidon, but this is Cassidon now. So, right, usually it'll look something like this. We'll just say, for argument's sake, that it looks like this. But, so if you're blue, you want to ban off. You basically have 3 free bans. Like, look at this, right? Because red has to ban one of these, 3 of these 4. And if red doesn't ban 3 of these 4, then you can just let one go. You get to choose whether you want, right? Like, you get to choose what you want. And so you can build a counter comp to the enemy's team, right? So this is the problem with red. So blue bans Jace because they don't want to play against Jace. Red's gonna ban Yumi because fuck the cat. Um, Blue's gonna then say ban Camille. Again, these are hypotheticals, right? Blue could ban anything. Red, however, is basically locked into banning these 3, and so they only have 2 left. Usually they'll ban Lucian because Lucian is way too fucking good. Then we'll say blue will ban a Cassidon. Red bans Senna. Boom. But let's say red doesn't ban Senna. They ban Corki. So now blue has the option of picking Senna or Karma. Well, you're going to pick Senna because Senna's just better. So then Senna goes, you go Karma, what? Probably Karma Galio. This is a good lane into Senanasis. It doesn't lose too hard. But then they go blue 3. If I can find Nasus in this. I know I grabbed him earlier. I can't believe I lost Nasus. How do I lose Nasus? There he is. We'll say Nasus Lee Sin. Right, because they want to pick up a jungler. They're like, Lee Sin's the best jungler. This is what the draft would look like. But this is not a draft that you like if you're red, because while it's not bad, and you're not going to be losing the bot lane matchup, these 2 don't scale. So let's say then, instead, they decide to ban Lucian. Well, now blue has the option to either pick Senna or Lucian. So they can go, if they have a super cracked Lucian player, they can go Lucian Nami. They can go pick blue 1 Lucian, red goes boom boom, pick 2-3, Lee Sin Nami, something like that. The problem with this, in my eyes, again, is that blue will always have the option of choice, right? Red has no choice. So if red doesn't want to play something, they don't have an option not to play it, which is why drafting on red side kind of fucking sucks. And then, well, okay, let's say red just decides to, we're gonna drag all these guys out of here. Red decides not to ban. So they ban Cassidon, they ban Corki, they ban Camille, and then they will ban Lee Sin, and then they will ban Nasus. Just, for shits and giggles. The problem is, you can't pick 2. Right? If you're leaving all 4 of these up, what blue is going to do is blue 3, they will ban Yumi, or whatever they don't like. And so the problem is here, right? To get the most value out of these lanes, blue gets to ban one of these, and then they can pick Senna. Senna is the best of all of these, right? And so red is now put in the scenario where they either have to ban Senna and leave up Lucian, who smokes Karma, or they have to ban Lucian and leave up Senna, who also smokes Karma, because of just how strong these characters are. That being said, you're gonna hear that a lot. You could also opt to do something like this, and this is what we saw a lot at Icons, which was to just target ban. Leave everything up, and just say, you can't pick all 4 if you're blue. So what they're gonna have to do is they will probably either take Yumi or Senna, because they are better than Karma and Lucian. Well, actually, it's probably more like this, right? Like, Lucian is very good, but he doesn't have a great matchup with Senna. And that's why you generally don't see a lot of Senna, or Lucian and Senna. That being said, you will still pick Lucian because he is good. I don't think his matchup is necessarily best. You get more flexibility out of being able to roam with him and stuff like that. So, it's not dog shit though. It's not like you're picking a hyperscaler into Senna who will The problem with Senanasis is they hyperscale and they're still very good early. And so if you were to pick like a Vayne or like a Varus, you're gonna lose early. Varus not that much, but like Vayne, you're gonna lose early, and so you're gonna have to find a way to not get rolled in the match. So, what can you do if you're red? You really don't have that many good options. I think that you basically have to do one of two things. You're either stuck with doing something like this, where you give over the the Yumi, and then you pick one of these three. But if you give over the Yumi and you pick one of these three, they can just pick Karma Blue 3. Pick Karma Blue 3, flex your mid. Say you pick Lucian, you go Lucian Nami or Senanasis. You're still losing here because they got Lucian, they got Yumi and Karma, two are power picks, right? Because you can't pick both of these power picks. You could, in a hypothetical scenario, pick Lucian Karma. I don't think it's good, but it is pickable. Yes. Which in that scenario you're not losing out on too much, but I just think that this lane will lose very hard to any Yumi lane because they can play a hyper carry and they don't have to worry about getting killed early because they have the Yumi. They could flex Nami mid. Yeah, see, because this is the problem. Here you want to pick these three, right? Because if you're going to pick Lucian, you want to pick, like, you could do something like this, right? Where you go Lucian, Karma, flex Karma mid, pick Senna, or pick Nami, red pick 3. But I think that that telegraphs if you do this, right? If you pick Lucian Karma, you telegraph that you pick Nami too early. And so I think that that is just not a good option. Um, yeah. So we're gonna go back to the more traditional standard draft here, where we see red, boom, boom. So blue is then going to pick Karma 1. There have been teams that pick. Where did that Caston still up there? Okay. There have been teams that pick Caston blue 1. So they will blue 3. They will blue 3 ban Karma. Because they don't want to give over the power pick. Red 3 will ban Lucian again. And so blue 1 pick Caston, which is not a bad scenario, but it's not great. I don't think Caston is necessarily that good from what I've seen. But getting on here, okay? Blue 1 is obviously the most important pick because this is it's the most important pick tied with blue 5 or red 5. So right, because this is like, well, if there are no power picks left on the board, you're in an even scenario. Blue still gets to pick first, and I think that picking first in this scenario is still very good. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the front half of the draft. How much am I at? 13 minutes? Okay. I'm more going to take hours on this. Here is what you have to do if you're red side, I think. I think you have to ban like this. Let them have Karma. Pick Cassidon red 1. And then pick. Who is it? Yeah. Yeah, so here's the strategy for blue, okay? I think you let Yumi through the draft. So you this is gonna sound really fucking stupid, but you have to let Yumi through the draft. You let I think that people are going to get hyper focused over the idea that Yumi is really good. The best teams in the world, like Nova, like FPX, like J Team, Team Flash, they've shown us that Yumi is good, but she's not that good. If you have a lockdown carry like Vi, who is very playable and I'd argue good right now, you can shut down the AD carry using Vi's lockdown, make the Yumi hop off, the Yumi goes on cooldown, she's dead. That is why, this is my solution basically, right? This is my solution to this problem that I have on red side. If you want to leave Karma up because you think she's not that good, I think that's fair. You could also, right, like I said, you could also just ban a Cassidon red 1, Senna red 2, Lucian red 3, something like that. But that is, again, then you go like this. If they first pick Yumi, you go like this. If they don't, you go, well, obviously you'd go like pick your jungler, like you pick up a Wukong. You pick like Yumi Vayne or something. Hyperscaling ADC that Yumi runs with. I think that, however, the best scenario for red is to ban these two and leave Karma Yumi up. I think that the mistake has been assuming that Yumi is an auto ban, which if you can ban Yumi, you should, but you don't have to ban Yumi. Okay, moving on. Right, we'll assume that this is how the draft is going. So Lucian red 3, Karma red 1, and then we'll get rid of Vayne. So here's the thing. Red 2 now is important because you want to get something that's not going to get counterpicked because you have counterpick advantage as red, but if you don't know where the karma is going, you can't counterpick the karma. So I think that you want to go with Kassadin, who I think is a good scaling mid laner. I think that he's probably the best mid laner besides maybe Ahri, and he doesn't lose to assassins level 1. So yeah, and then I think you go your support. Actually, I think you're supposed to go Rakan here. Rakan has been probably the most popular support champion that I've seen. For some reason, Janice seeing play. I said this on Twitter, but I believe that Leona and Nautilus are really slept on. So I'd say like they're okay picks here. I don't think Thresher's very good, but he's still playable. Um, but yeah, those are what I'd say is like the pick. You could also obviously go for a flex pick like Riven, or where is Garen? Garen. Garen. Right, so these are like the three sort of acceptable picks in my eyes. Wukong, I think, is actually, if you're gonna go for a bruiser that's not your support, I'd say Wukong is it. So we'll just, this is what drafts look like in SEA right now. Jace, Yumi, Camille, Senna, random ban. This could be the Wukong. I think that like this could really be anything to a certain extent. Um, yeah, that's a placeholder. I think Lee Sin is probably the jungle of choice though if you're gonna ban a jungler out. So now blue 3. You want to pick up the Galio for sure because Karma Galio will just run over the bot lane. I think it's a really good bot lane, assuming that there's no other like turbo annoying bot laners out there. What else? See, this is the point I think on red side that you'd want to pick up a jungler. We'll say we'll say Kha'Zix as our placeholder jungler for blue 3 because then if you're going blue 4, you can ban out Fiora, you can ban out Olaf, stuff like that, right? You can ban out all of the rest of the good junglers. You know, you have your Vi's, your Shyvanas, stuff like that. You know, yeah, but that's where I'd pick up the jungler. I think blue 3 is probably the best spot to pick up jungler. There's maybe an argument for blue 4, or picking up a jungler like blue 4/5, but I think that you're getting into risky scenario there if you don't think they're going to give the jungle counter pick. Because if you so this gets into counter pick territory, but this is why red 5 is important, right? Because it gives them counter pick. You can choose to have the advantage in any lane except for maybe the duo lane, but like even to a certain extent you have advantage in the duo lane if you pick an ADC that's really good and do another ADC and support combo, stuff like that. If you decide to start picking up your jungler at blue 2 and 3, you ban out something like this, blue 4, and then you pick up, you know, Shyvana, Fiora, blue 5, like something that you think is a 50-50 jungle matchup, I think is fine. Because if you think that they're going to give the jungle counterpick, you've basically narrowed down the options to like 2. Because you can maybe see Gragas, you can maybe see Riven, Jin Zhao, and I think that's about it for the jungle. And like Gragas has kind of fallen off in the jungle because it's just not that the scaling isn't that good anymore. Maybe Rengar, but like Rengar is not that good. But like you can force the cooldown so far, right? By just like banning and like if you do this, right? Like you have Vi, Fiora, Shyvana, and like you pick Fiora, you pick Vi. They're stuck with either one of those two, and so you have narrowed down the pool. That's also assuming there is a jungler band, right? Like I do have a Lee Sin band up here. I think that there's probably going to be a jungle band. I think that that's the most likely. Anyways, for red P3, what are you looking at? I think if you see a red P3, you probably see a red jungle P3. I think that Kha'Zix is Xin Zhao is probably the best answer into Kha'Zix. And they also do have Wukong, so they might flex Wukong. I think red P3 is actually the time you'd want to pick up. Where is good old Rakan? This is the problem. I need to organize these better next time. I don't know where I just put Rakan. Hello? Am I tripping? Did I just not grab Rakan? Am I tripping? I swear I had him earlier. There he is. Yeah, so I think you pick up Rakan here. Um, so like I said, you're gonna ban something like this. Um, right, like either make them go in there with the Wukong because he's been a lot more popular in the Baron lane. I think he's a lot better in the Baron lane. Something like a Garen or a Jax would also be fine here. Um, I just think that Rakan's probably one of the better supports right now. I think it's more likely that a Garen would be picked, so I'm gonna put him there. Um, so something like this, Rakan. I think you're gonna hit. I think it's probably a Jax next if you're banning for red. Yeah, you don't want to fight Jax as that team, I think. By the way, Jax is still very good. Please do not underestimate him. We'll say something like this is the jungle pool. So now, right, you're looking at red 4 and blue 4 and 5. And so you're in the latter half of the draft. And so this is where things get complicated because you have to have a sorted out team fight plan. And if you don't have a sorted out team fight plan by blue 3 ban, you are tripping, right? Like even if because you can sort of map out what you will expect people to pick, right? Like something along these lines. Or like having a draft flowchart is just so nice, right? I cannot count the number of teams that have picked Jin, this motherfucker, because they banned Ash. And so they were like, well, what the fuck do we do now? We have no ADC that has utility. There goes our entire fucking game plan. And it's like, what are you doing? Please think about the drafts and have a flowchart, right? Be like, well, here are the 5 heroes that we'd want, or the 5 champions that we'd want the most. And if those champions aren't on the board, who are our backups? Who's the third in line? Who's the fourth in line, right? If we are having to get to the fourth in line, how are we going to shift our team composition? Because we don't want to play the 4th best heroes in that rule, right? You know, stuff like that. Other than that, so, right, getting into counter pick. I've seen so many fucking teams waste red 5 pick, and it makes me so fucking annoyed. So, let's say we're gonna ignore this, right? All of this is now null and void. None of this matters. I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm just gonna throw everything up here. Just pretend that it's a stereotypical draft. Just like pick up any SEA. You know what? YouTube. Okay. We are gonna go. We'll say this.
When I
So
was
don't
young, I was always
spoil myself. But we're gonna pull up a random draft, okay? And we're gonna see if they take advantage of counterpick. Okay, here we go. So immediately you can see off the bat, right? Lucian, boom, those 2 banned. You're gonna pick up the jungler. You're gonna pick up the Jax. The Jax is still good. Riven, yeah, blah 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 blah. People are picking Lux. Not a huge fan, but it is what it is. Zaya pick, okay? So now what are they going to do? 4, red 5, right? Let's see how blue rounds out their team composition, right? They've got their bruiser, which can flex mid or top. Karma could probably go in mid because you have a Rakan support, right? You're probably not going to play Rakan Karma. You see the Corki, you're like, yeah, probably going Rakan Corki bot. And then what are we going to see here for Fennel? Kha'Zix, right? So now the roles of everything sort of piecing itself together. You know that Kha'Zix is most likely in the jungle. You know that the Corki is most likely in mid lane. Zaya, Rakan bot. You've left counter pickup for your support. Why did you leave counter pickup for your support? Who are they picking? Gragas. So, I'm gonna address this draft, right? You see the support pick here. The jungle pick here. This was a way too early jungle pick. The reason for that is that now they have no advantage from counter pick. What advantage did SGP get from picking the red side? They got nothing. They just wasted their entire counter pick. They could have picked, or like even better, right? Because Lux is not going to be high prio. They're not going to be banning out Lux in this scenario, right? So you can save the Lux until you see the Corki and you know that the Corki is going bot. Because if you don't want to play Lux into Corki for some reason, because you think it's a bad matchup, then you can now no longer have to pick Lux. You could pick like a Jhin who outranges Corki by a lot more so that you're not getting domed. Instead, you've now used your red 5 counter pick, which is supposed to be the advantage of red side. The advantage of red side is supposed to be that you get to see what your opponent does for these first 3 or 4 picks, and then you're like, okay, what can I do that fits well into my team comp, that slots around what I wanted to build to counter that? This is not it. Let's pull up another draft. So here. What? Did they just not ban? Hello? I mean, I'm not gonna use the draft if they don't ban because that is just a bad example. We're gonna move on to the next one. So, what do we see here? We see a Jace, Camille, Vi, 2 top laners, and a jungler. The classic SEA. And then you'll see Red is going to do the strategy of leaving 2 up. Ban Karmi, ban Senna, ban Rakan. Leave up Lucian, leave up Karma. So they're going to get Lucian picked in. They're going to say, okay, we'll take the Karma, we'll take the Cassin. Lucian, Nami, boom, instant. Jax, obviously next pickup. I don't necessarily know if he's that obvious. I think that a Wukong probably better because you can have the ability to flex him. But SEA has a lot of prio on Jax from what I'm seeing. And then they'll pick up the Lee Sin. The Lee Sin is not a bad pickup. I think that I'd rather see a counter pick of top laners here. And then as long as perfect. See, this is exactly what I mean. They're taking this counter pick, right? Because Jax, Shen, I guess they think is the good matchup. I think Jax Fiora is probably the counter pick you want to go for. I think that matchup is absolutely god unwinnable for Jax. Because Fiora just dashes in, she pokes him, he tries to counter strike her, she just ignores it. But yeah, not the counter pick I would have had, but it's still a counter pick. Banning Varus, banning TF, Wukong, banning Lee Sin. So jungle pool is pretty small now. I don't necessarily think that target banning out junglers is like the worst thing, but god fucking. Okay, so who are the junglers that we're looking at that are still up here? What we got? Kha'Zix, Olaf, Jin Zhao, Camille Lucian, Senna has been banned. They've got Shyvana, Vi's been banned, Gragas, Fiora. Jarvan. I don't know. Jarvan's not necessarily a greatest jungler. He's more of a counter pick jungler if you see someone like an Olaf. You've got, your Riven, stuff like that. Echo, obviously, as well. I don't think Echo is very good, but I don't like the Cosmic pick here, right? So the reason for that is because you haven't seen the jungler on the enemy team. If they pick somebody who is right, like a very team-centered jungler or more of a tanky jungler, then you're kind of shit out of luck in the jungle matchup. You're gonna get fucking rolled. Boom, Jin Zhao fucking rolls Kha'Zix, in my opinion, because the way that right, like, because Kha'Zix relies on his second ability for a lot of poke. Jin Zhao's ultimate nullifies that. Plus, the fact that he can do that means that Kha'Zix can't really get in on his targets. It gets rid of a lot of vision, so get fucked. And then Corki last pick. So what did they leave counter pick up for? Well, assuming that Shen is the top laner, they left counter pick up for support, which has been a god fucking waste of time again. They weren't gonna pick Set. Okay, I'm gonna explain something. Fennel was not going to pick Set. You should have picked Set here. They might have then picked Kha'Zix, but then you have the ability to take Jin Zhao into Kha'Zix. You get the winning matchup. This is what I mean when I say that you are wasting Red 5. This is constantly fucking happening to teams. They waste Red 5. Depending on what, and like, as you can see, the waste of Red 5 was not caused because they picked something on Red 5 that was bad. It was caused because they picked something on the Red 4 that was the wrong pick. You should have swapped where you positioned those around. We're going to skip to the end of this because I haven't seen any of the drafts near the end, okay? So I haven't seen drafts, and I have no idea who's playing. So we're going to see they're leaving 2 up. Fiora, Camille, Jaxban, Wukong, Cassidy, Yumi, Senna, Karma, Senna, Karma, Lucian still up. So this is what I was talking about earlier again, where they've sort of got that scenario where, like, I don't. Jace is not the pick here. I'm gonna be real. Jace is not a blue one pick. Dude, I am losing my mind. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about SEA drafting, because they have the right ideas. They just executed on it in the worst fucking way possible. Jace is not a red one. Jace is not a blue one. He is not that high prio. Get out of your own head. Because, right? Because now the enemy just gets Senanasis or Lucian Nami. Probably Senanasis. Okay. Lucian Karma. Fair enough. Because then you get 2 power picks, you can flex the Karma mid, and then you can, what's the Lucian one right in SEA, by the way? I'm just sorry. This is ADHD acting up. Where I'm what 52 win rate, 70%. Holy shit. What's the Senna win rate? 33%. Damn, not good. I think that's definitely a little bit skewed though. Senanasis. Okay. So Gragas. So now when you're looking at the draft, you're like, nobody's picked what looks to be a jungler. They haven't picked up a Nami, which is really fucking weird. I think Nami deserves a ban if you're Grind Sky, because right, you could flex Gragas jungle, you can flex Gragas top lane, you could flex him support like we saw earlier. I hate people that make and play AP scaling supports, but it makes me angry. But I mean, you could. Other than that, Wukong, or I mean, Wukong's already been banned. I mean, fuck, Rakan. I don't know why I said Wukong. Rakan maybe deserves a hit. Other than that, somebody like Kha'Zix, any other like power junglers, Ari mid lane. Ari's fair enough, right? Because you're expecting Ari into Karma, which is not necessarily a great matchup when you get outpoked. Renekton is a bit of a weird ban. Not sure why that's hit. SEA teams believe that he's a problem. Orianna, again, is a wild ban. If they don't set for top lane, I'm assuming, or set support, maybe. It's hard to tell. Kha'Zix, and so now they have the jungle counter pick. This is a good use of red 5 because now you have jungle counter pick and you can pick a jungler that rounds out your team. You already have everything you need. So you can just pick a jungler to win the jungle matchup to help your team get ahead in lanes. I like this. This is not a bad usage. The SEA team smoked some crack, but yeah, it's not bad usage of. I mean, it's not a bad usage of red 5. You have the counter pick. That's a good example. Anyways, that's all for me. Please, just use red 5. It's not fucking hard.